Kindred, Longevity Lifestyle Designers. This is Zach here with secretsoflongevity.com. We've got a great clip from a recent talk Brian Clement gave in our area here in Guelph, and it's a unique one, so I think you're going to enjoy this.
When I make love to my wife, I feel God inside of myself. And I don't have sex with my wife. We share love. Do you follow that? It is extraordinary that that's a drive. It's an inherent, deep, authentic drive that we have inside of ourselves. That, by the way, makes you get up in the morning, even if you don't know it, and comb your hair, and put your nice clothes on, and walk around and prance around. You know, you don't prance around. I don't know who the hell invented high heels for girls, but it wasn't a girl, I can tell you that. The girl did that, she was a masochist. These are the 7 keys to lifelong sexual vitality. Understand your sexuality. That's the other big debate today. Now finally we're talking about homosexuals. We couldn't talk about them before. Oh God, it's homosexuals. You know why people were worried about them? Because they're afraid they're homosexual. You hear anyone talking against homosexuals, it's because they have their own sexuality a little confused. Now, there are people born homosexuals. What do you think, they're subhuman or something? Sexuality is sexuality. It's sad if you are born a homosexual in a society that doesn't accept other people because they're a little different. We know for sure in Canada that 10% of your population is homosexual. Where in the United States we only have 1/2 of 1%. We probably have 30% down there. San Francisco is 90% actually. I have to go like this from the guys in San Francisco. Now what the hell are the politicians talking about homosexuals for? What do they have to do with homosexuals? You ever notice in the United States, the way they get elected down there, they talk about guns, gays, and what? God. They divert your attention. Let's watch over here. Let's look up at that over there so we can rob you, steal, and cheat over here. You don't want those immigrants to take over your world. Can you imagine an immigrant who takes away your guns, is a homosexual? They're going to come and take your children and make them homosexuals. Be happy with who you are. It is a biological process. It is not a learned process. I'm a flaming heterosexual. I never questioned who I liked. I was 12 years old. The girls out in the street did it. She said, "Come back here. Let's go behind the garage." And I came into the house and I couldn't talk for 3 days. I knew something was wrong. I never stopped talking. My father kept saying, "What's wrong? Did something happen at school?" I couldn't say, "It's behind your garage." The sane psychologists tell you to have sexual fantasy. And if you don't have that, your imagination, your sex life is not going to be as good as it should be. Now, I know a lot of you girls, when you're making love to your husband, as much as you love him, close your eyes and you think of George Clement. Now this is a true story. A wonderful employee we have, Rini. A lot of the staff, a lot of the alumni know Rini here. Rini's this great mother and grandmother. Well, she had a horrible thing happen most of you probably know about. Her grandson was burned last year. Remember that? He was actually put on fire. They put alcohol on the kid and burned him. And the kid was smart enough to jump. Mikey, you know, I just went to his birthday last weekend. It was 1-year anniversary of his birthday. And they got well. And they put him on the famous American Today show. And they had him on once before, and now because it was a year anniversary, they had him on the other day, and they interviewed Mikey and the family. And they've become the symbol against bullying in North America now. So she's become the spokesperson against bullying. And she said, I said, "How was the show?" She said, "Oh, the show was good. Matt Lauer interviewed me, but more important than that is right after the show, who comes out is I feel somebody grabbing my neck. I look up, and it's George Clooney." I said, "You ever going to get over it?" She said, "No." Guys, my generation, a little bit younger, it was Farrah Fawcett. Remember Farrah Fawcett? How many nights did you look at that as you were no white? I won't say what. Express your sexuality. Don't be a prude. You don't have to be a whore either. You can go between that. But be a little sexy. Hold your belly in. Put your chest out. Talk with a deeper voice than you have. Or higher voice than you have. It's fun. There's a guy in my neighborhood, I love this. He's a deep southern man, a lovely man, a good man. Every time I ever talk to him in my life since I've lived there 10 years, I talk with a southern accent. And my children keep saying, how come you trick him? I said, it's not tricking, it's a hell of a lot of fun. He said, why is it fun? I said, in about 3 years I'm going to tell him I'm not southern. You gotta have fun in life. Flirt. I am devoted to my wife. You don't think I flirt with other women? Of course you can flirt. Nothing's wrong with that. Flirt with girls. Flirt with boys. Have some fun. This is healthy. You ever notice what happens to your blood and your circulation when all of that happens? You may be half dead when you come back to life. Oh my God, I feel good again. My vitality. Of course, we'll be a little new age here because we'll calm it down and we have more chi. The Holy Ghost of health community. We can't talk about these things. Protect your sexuality. That means wear jock straps everywhere you go. Don't just go rampant and have fun, sex fun. My generation was good at that. I won't get into that. But I can tell you, being a rock musician at that time was a hell of a ride. And the fact of the matter is, you got to protect yourself. You know, my generation didn't worry about dying of HIV. You got to think about these things. You got to think about these things. And you got to say, okay, when is the time you should have intimacy? We're not talking about non-committed love. We're talking about committed love. Finding somebody you love and sharing that intimacy with them. But you can't just run around like a rabbit like we used to do unless you want to end up dead somewhere. Chlamydia. Forget HIV. How about if you get chlamydia? How about if you get the other sexually transmitted diseases? There's so many out there. And some we're not even aware of, that they're popping up left and right. Nourish your sexuality. You know what that means? Certain foods. How many of you remember the term sow your oats? You know where that came from? This is interesting. Out west, here in Canada and the US, it never rains. And they would put out the troughs with the grains in the troughs. And they noticed that the rarity when it would really rain a lot, and then the grains would sprout, the bulls they were putting out in pasture that were no longer prolific were coming back. That's where the term literally came from. So, what am I going to tell you to do? Sprout your oats. How many of you know your sexuality is based upon how many leukocytes you have? Leukocytes, white blood cells. All sperm and all egg counts increase when you have white blood cells. And so you want to make sure your body's not fighting chemical supplements or viruses or bacteria. That what it's doing is those white blood cells are manifesting hormones in your system. Enhance your sexuality. That's where you go down and get dressed up in Halloween costumes. You could do that, I guess. It doesn't turn me on, love. But enhance it. I'll never forget. I used to have this girlfriend that loved feathers. First I thought it was the weirdest thing in the world. Then I kept saying, where are the feathers? You don't have to do like men. What we do is we think everything's like a bulldozer activity. Women have to lead us in this way sometimes. And that intimacy basically has to do with things like feathers, and nibbling on the ear, and all the things that we really like. And what we call that is foreplay. And you need more of that. You know, we're all so busy now, we have 5 minutes. You know what the average time people have intimacy is? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And some of you, that would be a long time for you. When I first started to have intimacy, it was 5 seconds. We weren't even intimate at that. And then prolong your sexuality by doing the things I'm talking about now. Now, what does this have to do with health? How can you prove you're healthy unless you're doing this type of thing? What are you going to walk around and say, I'm healthy? Why are you healthy? I don't have a disease. I'm not diagnosed with a disease. Health means you're utilizing your psychology, your spirituality, your biology in romantic ways, in contributory ways, as we spoke, giving, sharing, loving, communing with nature, being part of the whole universe that we're part of. That's what health really means. It doesn't mean, I'm healthy because I'm a vegan. I eat raw food. You know how many unhealthy vegan raw food eaters I know? That walk around thinking they're healthy, but all they think about is eating and chewing and swallowing and cleaning and let's detox and all of this stuff. Get over that stuff. Let's come alive. This is not a group of monks and nuns that you're joining in. We're going to be on some retreat for the rest of our life, out of touch with normality and reality. What we want to do is bring normality and reality to this. And we want the entire world to function in a balanced, healthy way. And when we make proper choices in our life, it is proper choices for your family, humanity, and the planet. When we stop eating meat and dairy, it reduces greenhouse gases by 40%. If we today did it, by next week, greenhouse gases would have now dropped 40%. If we make proper, compassionate choices and not slaughter animal milk or drink milk from its breast, it is humane to do that. And if you want to be part of the old paradigm, and again, hold on to that building as it's collapsing, go right ahead, because we want to clear the deck. We want everyone out of the way so that when the switch happens, that we don't have to deal with a lot of negativity. And so, it's time, people, to awaken yourself, to come alive, to make sure that you're part of the transformation of life on this planet. And not to hold on to the old, because the old is gone at this point. We just, at this point, are taping it together, pasting it together, writing about it, and believing it's real. And it's not real.
So I hope you enjoyed that. Remember to leave comments below, let me know what you think. And, of course, embrace life without limits.